This is Inner Work, a spiritual growth podcast, a sanctuary for healers, lightworkers, and spiritual practitioners here to raise consciousness on this planet. You've come to the right place to heal yourself and fully awaken your unique gifts so you can show up to serve others as powerfully and purposefully as possible. I am your host, Josephine Hartman, a certified intuitive healer and Akashic Records master teacher. I'm honored you're here and delighted to walk with you on your path for a little while. To connect with me and explore ways of working together, please head over to josephinehartman.com. Hello, and welcome to this new episode of Inner Work. I'm thrilled that you're here. Before we dive into today's topic, I wanted to make an announcement and invitation into my Akashic Records intensive training, which is coming up in October and November 2024. So I'll be teaching a select group of awakened people who are seeking to evolve to their next level of meaning, clarity, and purpose, how to powerfully and effectively access the Akashic Records on command, reliably, without ego mind interference, without self-doubt or fear or second-guessing getting in the way. So we're going to do some really deep and great work together of building your personal relationship and connection to the Akashic Records and being able to masterfully use the records for personal healing and guidance. If you would like to receive more details about that training and see if it aligns with where you are, then you can email me at josephinehartman.com. Just let me know you're interested in that, and I will follow up with the details. So this episode is about achieving divine neutrality to get beyond fear and beyond projection in the world that we're living in today. So there is, and there has been, a predominant energy of fear, confusion, separation, illusion, and division in the world that we're living in. It's absolutely a very strange world that we're often living in. So if we feed on this energy, if we allow this predominant energy to allow it to influence us consciously or unconsciously, that's when our emotional reactivity becomes heightened. And so we might be influenced by this kind of energy of fear, of confusion in many different ways. I would say primarily when we are watching the news, when we are just mindlessly scrolling through social media, when we are interacting with people who may be working out some of their own unconsciousness or projecting some of their own stuff onto us, and that might be really triggering, so we might consciously or unconsciously take some of that on and absorb some of that. So when that happens, that's when we tend to take things personally, we tense up, we feel like we have to defend ourselves constantly or go on the attack because it feels like someone else is being offensive or someone else is attacking us in some way, so we want to retaliate. Our nervous systems might get stuck in fight, flight, or freeze responses, so just heightened stress responses. And in this kind of reactive state, it's much harder to let go, to release all of our old coping mechanisms, survival mechanisms, our defense strategies that we use unconsciously to try to keep ourselves safe. So it's a lot harder when you are emotionally reactive and in this heightened, stressful state to release all of the unhelpful things that you may do to maybe try to escape reality or just to try to help yourself feel a little bit calmer. And so when I say all of the unhelpful things that we do, here we might include things like overeating, overdrinking, smoking, shopping compulsively, watching TV compulsively, anything we might do where it feels like we don't have full control or full choice over that behavior and it just kind of takes over. And we know after the fact that, oh, that behavior wasn't really serving me. That's not something I want to be doing anymore. And yet sometimes it can be so difficult to find our way out of that habit or that pattern and to replace it with something else. So how can we find and how can we create a genuine sense of grounding, clarity, and meaning in our lives without these old coping mechanisms that we don't necessarily want to engage in anymore? And despite the chaos that we often see reflected in the outside world. So how do we genuinely help ourselves stay out of that collective energy field of fear and confusion? So one of the answers for me, of course, there can be many different answers to this. For me, the answer has been to incorporate the Akashic Records into my everyday life. So I've been working with them since I was 17 years old. That's when I first opened the records 20 years ago now. And since then, I have made the records a way of life for myself. And that's really my lifeline. It's really my anchor. It's what keeps me grounded and what keeps me feeling and creating a sense of deep meaning in my life, even when it seems like the world out there is kind of going to hell in a lot of ways, or is just really chaotic, or there are really painful, unfair, unjust, just devastating things happening that we do see on the news. So the Akashic Records give us access to a field of higher consciousness beyond the limited and linear human dimension. So through the records, we are able to connect directly to Divine Source and to our own inner divinity. So our divine essence, our inner knowing. Every time you journey into the Akashic Records, you get to come back home to yourself, to your essential, wise, authentic, powerful, peaceful self with capital S. And that is who you really are. That is who you really are beyond illusion, beyond fear, beyond self-doubt, beyond all of that stuff that we tend to be swimming in when we are in the 3D human dimension. So the more time you spend in the records, the more human density you can release. And when I say human density, this includes things like perfectionism, procrastination, so patterns that don't serve us, fear, both yours and from the collective, self-doubt, patterns of seeking approval from other people, limiting beliefs such as I'm not good enough or I need to be perfect to be loved. You also get to release familial, social, cultural, and religious conditioning that doesn't serve you and that doesn't reflect the truth of who and what you actually are. You can release and heal wounds from past experiences, both from this lifetime and from previous lifetimes. And through the records, you can also identify and release draining and codependent etheric cords, keeping you tethered to certain people, places, relationships, and situations. So these are energy cords that keep us tied to people, places, and situations that, again, are just not serving us. And so it really is in our highest good and in the highest good of everyone concerned for us to identify and be able to cut and release those cords. So all of this and more can be transmuted by doing healing work in the Akashic field. If you're willing to be an active participant in your life, if you're willing to take full ownership of where you are and what you want to create from this moment on, which is really just about full spiritual ownership, full spiritual responsibility, the records can support you in raising your frequency and upgrading all of your systems if you are willing to take ownership of where you are. So they can help you upgrade your energy system, your chakra system, your nervous system, to help that nervous system come into a state of greater regulation and parasympathetic activation. The records can help you upgrade and balance and heal your physical body, your emotional body, your mental body, and also your capacity for emotional regulation. That can be expanded the more that you work with the records. So the Akashic Records accelerate healing processes that otherwise would take a lot longer, so a lot more time, and often a lot more struggle or efforting, because the records can hook you up directly to an energy field, a timeless energy field of unconditional love, resilience, wisdom, and creativity. And this is also a field where time is not linear. So healing can happen truly in miraculous ways, sometimes at the speed of light. So my students often will comment at some point in their journey with the records that they're struck by the sense of divine neutrality they're able to achieve through all of their interactions with this field of consciousness, with the Akashic field. So divine neutrality is an important concept on the spiritual path. When you are neutral, you can remain calm, you can remain centered, regardless of what's going on around you. So you can really be that beacon of light, and you can be fully grounded. You can adopt a stance of curious, detached observer when you are neutral in this way. And I do want to make an important distinction here, just to make sure I am defining the terms properly. When I say divine neutrality, I don't mean that you have to be in a state where you don't care about anything or anyone. So divine neutrality isn't about not caring. It isn't about you have to stifle or ignore your true feelings, or that you have to pretend you're just above it all. None of us is above it all. So divine neutrality, what it's really about is about recognizing and honoring all of your true feelings and the depth of those feelings, and then making the choice consciously not to be attached either way. So when you are in the state of divine neutrality, you're not attached to other people reacting to you in the way that you want them to. For example, you're not attached to other people having to be different than they are in this moment. So you're not attached to trying to force people to change or to heal or to move at a faster rate than they're moving with their own healing. You're also not attached to people doing their own healing work or trying to force them to do their own healing work. You can let go of all of those pressures. When you are in the state of genuine neutrality, you can observe everything around you, and you can also be with and observe everything that's happening within you, so internally, without getting triggered, without reacting impulsively, without needing to urgently fix or change anything or make anything go away. This gives you tremendous power in your ability to remain centered, to remain at peace, regardless of what's going on around you, within you, or more broadly in the world. So these days, when so many people are confused, so many people are scared, so many people are projecting their stuff onto each other, which is just what we do sometimes as humans when we are scared, when we are confused. We just start to blame each other. So many people out there projecting their stuff, maybe even onto you. When all of this is happening, in the midst of all of this, the skill of divine neutrality is key, and it really can be a life saver, and it can be life changing when you apply this skill and this concept. It can help you stay detached. It can help you stay emotionally grounded so you can resist the temptation to react in those ways that don't really serve you or to take things personally. And it can be hard not to when someone else is projecting their stuff onto us or wanting us to fix them or fix things for them. It can be difficult not to take that on and not to feel responsible in some way or not to take it personally. But when you are truly in this place of divine neutrality and you are seeing everything through this higher vantage point from a higher perspective, you can resist that temptation to slip into egoic patterns or to take on that collective fear and chaos that we are often exposed to. So when you turn on the potent energy of the Akashic Records in your life, you truly can navigate whatever comes with an unshakable sense of grounding, calm, and inner resilience. And I feel these are some of the really, really important attitudes and mindsets and states of being that ideally we all could be cultivating more of, especially given the state that the world is in right now. So all of this and more, we'll be working on all of this in my upcoming Akashic Records Intensive. As I mentioned, this is going to be happening in October and November 2024. So if you would like to join us for this experience, if you would like to cultivate more of this sense of divine neutrality in your life, if you'd like to learn how to tap into the records reliably, on command, moving past self-doubt and past second-guessing and resistance and fear, if you want to dissolve all of that and really have the records in your life as a constant companion, really helping you to access divine healing and guidance and wisdom anytime that you need it, so you can clarify your path and you can see what is the best, most aligned next step for me. Whenever you want to ask that, then just reach out and let me know that you're interested. You can do that by sending a note to me at josephinehartman.com, and I will follow up with all of the details for that training. I would be absolutely honored to work with you if you've been hearing the call of the records. So absolutely reach out and we will explore together if this training would meet your needs and if it is the most aligned next step for you. Thank you so much for spending this time with me and tuning in to Inner Work today. You can connect with me, as always, by visiting josephinehartman.com or sending an email to me at josephinehartman.com. Please take really, really, really great care of yourself because you deserve it. And I will catch you next time.